We see death so much. They're little things you just never escape, right?
As Austin firefighters grapple with the recent suicide in their department, we're hearing more firsthand accounts of just how often first responders are faced with trauma and the impact the job can have on their mental health.
Well, today the Austin Firefighters Association spoke out, saying that it is seeing a startling rise in mental health issues among first responders.
And the association is calling for further reducing firefighters' workweek hours and adding a new cadet class, saying those changes would relieve some of the burden on current responders while still keeping the community safe. I sat down with a local lieutenant for a conversation about her own experience with trauma as a firefighter, and also learn more about another fire department already making sweeping changes to address what they call a mental health crisis among first responders.
Talked to my brother and seeing the look on his face, it broke my heart. And I knew his heart broke for me too, because he just had no idea.
Lieutenant Amanda Bennett is ready to share her story.
I've been with Austin for 15 years, and we've lost 4 people to suicide. I myself attempted suicide 2 years ago.
She's sharing her story, revealing traumas that have become the norm for many firefighters, a crippling reality that is sometimes too much to bear. First, I just want to acknowledge you for just sharing your experience. If we unpack your experience, what led you to the point where you felt like my life is not worth living anymore?
That day decided to end my life. I felt like there was no other way forward. We tend to pick up little traumas throughout our career.
Trauma and long hours, sleep deprivation, and images of unimaginable calls that linger for years.
I can't drive past 360 and 183 without thinking of a car wreck where an entire family was killed besides, one family member. We're supposed to be the problem solvers. And there's a shame of feeling of weakness if you need help.
But she did get help and spent several weeks at the International Association of Firefighters Center of Excellence, a voluntary treatment facility.
It was the first place where I really felt safe talking about my vulnerabilities to other firefighters. I didn't have to edit myself.
Data from the Firefighter Behavioral Health Alliance shows from 2014 to 2020, more firefighters died by suicide than in the line of duty. Here's a look at the reported cases in Texas. 99% are firefighters. The Alliance says Texas has the 4th highest reported suicides in its database of the 50 states.
Firefighters are pretty resilient. They're humans. Everybody has a breaking point, and they need some relief.
That's why Bob Nix, the president of the Austin Firefighters Association, is calling for a more significant reduction in work hours and increased staffing, changes proving effective in other fire departments.
That's what Portland does currently, and other people are starting to adopt because of the positive mental aspects.
In 2022, the Portland Fire Department dropped its work week hours to 50.4 from 53 just 2 years prior.
For on our side, it was 100% mental health.
They're still collecting firm data, but Isaac McClennan, president of the Portland Firefighters Association, says they saw an immediate boost in morale and mental health.
We're family people, and so having a schedule, a work week that's manageable, and a schedule that allows us to be, not only productive at work, but really present at home is huge.
But reducing the work week also came with a financial burden.
There was a huge demand to work overtime, and because they didn't have enough people. So much that was the worst year for overtime. They spent $25 million that year in overtime.
That's why he says creating a robust staffing pipeline early on is necessary.
I love the environment there.
Yeah. Bennett believes a reduced work week would help, but knows there's no quick fix. But there are some immediate answers.
Let's be honest with ourselves so we can be honest with the people close to us so they have the chance to help us.
How are you now? How are you doing?
It is a journey. I have no problem saying I still go to therapy.
She hopes her story will spur more dialogues.
That's my goal, is to keep the conversation going and to set clear paths, shed light on paths forward for people that feel like there aren't any options.
And first, we want to tell you, if you or a loved one are in need of mental health support, you can always call 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, a free and confidential service. I did reach out to the Austin Fire Department for a response to the calls for more relief. A spokesperson sent me a statement saying, in part, the department is continually striving to mitigate all risks associated with the job while maintaining service to the community. Adding, quote, the department is working to fulfill the reduced work week outlined in the collective bargaining agreement. AFD told me it's also increasing access to screenings, doctors, psychologists, and peer support. And as for that budgeting hurdle the city of Portland faced after implementing a shorter work week, city council members Allison Alter, Mackenzie Kelly, and Ryan Alter announced items they brought to council ahead of the final city budget decision. Now, the items will address handling overtime in the department and bringing in an additional cadet class to help with a future work week reduction. And we did reach out to all city council members for a temperature check of where they stand on these items. We'll let you know as soon as we hear back.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Let's talk rain. We got some rain in Austin over the weekend on Sunday. In fact, some areas outside of Camp Mabry sensors got more than 2 inches of rain in just about an hour's time. Officially, though, at Camp Mabry, 0.95 of an inch yesterday. And that means that we're from a deficit for the month to a surplus for the month of